What are we doing? Where are we going? Nice to see you. And why are we going there? Now, these are questions that me and my wife, Carla, have been asking each other for the last 20 years. And at first, the answers to those questions were very pedestrian in nature, very survival-based. We are doing this because we need money to pay bills. Anybody know what I'm talking about? As we started to earn more money and the money superseded the amount that we needed for bills, those questions started to take on a different meaning. I watched my parents have no plan. You know what their plan was? To work hard. I would watch them distract themselves with entertainment, like Dolphins football games. I watched them distract themselves with alcohol and with substances. And as a result, 30 plus years later, not having a plan has repercussions, does it not? Riddle me this. Why do we live in the richest country in the world and 65% of people live paycheck to paycheck? Is it because of a lack of opportunity? No. It's because of a lack of a plan and a strategy on how to accomplish that plan. Does that make sense? So I watched this and I personally made a decision. I'm like, look, this is not acceptable to me. Okay? I do not want the people that I love and care about and my future family, this is before I met Carla, I don't want this to be my experience because it's not fun, because in that environment, things go along with it, does it not? There's substance issues. There's domestic stuff. There's divorce. What's the main reason why people get divorced? Money! And yet we don't have a plan. Our plan is just to work hard, and that shit doesn't work. And yet we keep doing it over and over and over and over and over again, as though something different is going to take place. So I'm like, look, I don't know what the way is, but I'm either find the way or make the way. And really, to my chagrin, after 16 years of formal education, 12 in high school and a few more in college, nobody taught me how to plan. Nobody. Isn't that kind of interesting? They taught us that the Spanish Armada was in 1492, which fucking helps me zero. But they didn't tell me how to make a plan or have a strategy. Nobody. Now, we can get into a nuanced conversation as perhaps that's maybe by design. I don't know. I'm not really too concerned about that. What I am concerned about is I was like, okay, I need to understand how to plan. And I need a strategy. And I can't ask my parents because they don't have one. So what I started to do, I read a quote one time that said, those who do not read are no different than those who can't. Aha! Those who do not read are no different than those who can't. Ask yourself a question. How many books you read in the last 12 months? Interesting. How many? Compare that to how many Instagram posts you've seen. Compare that to how many books, how many movies you've watched on Netflix. Binge the whole season. I know you guys be watching Bridgerton in a whole fucking weekend. Don't front. As though that's going to help you. Do you see? So I was like, okay, I need to get access to this information. So what I started to read, I started to obsessively read books. And then I started to get proximity to teachers, coaches, mentors. Now, I want to rephrase that kind of name because I don't even like that name. Imagine it as a tour guide. What do tour guides have that you don't? Knowledge. And what do they do for the experience? They make it more interesting and exciting and easier. Because if you got dropped down in a country that you know nothing about and try to figure it out yourself, could you figure it out? Yes. Would it be painful? Yes. Would you go down wrong alleys? Yes. Would you end up in a neighborhood that you don't feel comfortable in? Yes. That is what a guide can do. They can condense decades worth of learning into days, weeks, months, years. So imagine there's like this big peak that I want to go to, and it's far off in the distance, and there's this jungle, and there's a lake. Could you figure out how to get to the peak by yourself? Yeah, probably. It could take a lifetime. But imagine somebody comes out of the woods, they're like, hey man, what's going on? You see that peak over there? I've been there 10 times. So here's what's cool. I can show you the fastest route. I can also show you what to eat and what not to eat. Because if you do it by yourself, are you going to eat some berries and then regret it? Yes. So I realized, okay, I need to get proximity to a guide or multiple guides so they can show me how to do this because my family of origin doesn't know how to do it. And keep in mind, this isn't me shitting on them. They're nice people. They do the best they can under the given set of circumstances. Now, what's also true is they never sought out any additional help or information. And I want you guys to realize something. We are living in an unprecedented fucking time. Do you know 150, 200 years ago, the access to humans that you had was restricted to the geographic place you were born? Now, because of the internet, you're connected to everyone. There is no shortage of information, and it's fucking free. Do you know 150, 200 years ago, people only had one book in their house because they were so expensive. You know what it was? The Bible. That was it. Now, you could have somebody, this titan of industry, who's sold a company for billions of dollars, and they could say, hey man, I'm going to tell you everything I know, all my mistakes, all my pluses, all my minuses, and it'll be $30. And you're like, wow, it's a little much money there. I don't know. That's dumb. Guys, information is currency. Write it down. Information is the real currency, not the paper shit that you chase after. And we live in a time where access to that information is unlimited. Okay? So I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars of my own money to get proximity to people who could show me and teach me a way of planning and strategizing. And what that has allowed me to do in a very short period of time is to not only sell 2,000 homes in my career, the coaching company, that sort of thing, but also make pivots and changes very quickly. So 18 months ago, I was selling 150 homes a year and coaching 30 people one-on-one and the rest in groups, about 100 total. And now today, I haven't gone on a listing appointment in 10 months. I have 212 agents in an organization and I'm financially free and independent. My intention in sharing that with you is not to brag or boast, it's to show you how fast that can happen with the right plan and the right strategy. Does that make sense? And I believe that everybody in this room with the right plan and the right strategy, you could do anything I've done or others that you admire or watch their podcasts in half the time because you have tools at your disposal that they did not. Things like the internet, things like platforms that make distribution free. How many people see me on a regular basis online? Is it possible for you to not see me? No. All day, every day. Do you realize back in the day, you used to have to spend thousands of dollars to get in front of people? Now it's free. But you're like, well, I don't like the way my hair looks. You see what I'm saying? You have tools at your disposal. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to go over probably like 45 minutes, maybe a little more. I'm going to walk you through how to create a plan and how to think about strategy. The same tools that I use to consciously and purposely create a life by design. Not taking what comes, not working hard and hoping it works out, but creating the life that you want. Who's up for this? Say aye. Aye. I'm sorry, the energy's not right. Who's up for this? Say aye. Aye. Good, now we're in the right place. So, I think you're recognizing by now that this is the good shit, not the bullshit. I know you guys have been to networking meetings and shit with agents that is completely dumb and makes no sense and is pointless. You're like, well, I did networking. That's dumb. Okay, so we're going to learn some shit today, but this is going to be interactive. It requires you guys to participate. So don't be shy. You will get the most out of this that you put into it. Understood? Yes. Understood? Yes. Okay, so to get our brains to start to think about creating a life by design, I have a couple things I want to ask you. The first is, are you making C+ choices and praying for an A+ life? Yes. Look at the heads nodding. Hey, people are looking at me like, how the fuck did you know that? Are you making C+ choices and asking for an A+ life? What would be an example of C+ choices? Not reading all the time. What else would be an example of C+ choices? Not having a plan. What else would be an example of C+ choices? Who wants to tell me?
Not prospecting.
Not prospecting. And imagining in a marketplace where we go from 6 million sales to 4.2 million sales, that's going to work. It won't. It's a weight loss program. You'll starve to death. Okay? Am I making C+ choices and expecting an A+ life, praying for an A+ life? And I want you to realize where you are currently is the culmination of planning and choices you've made up until this point. Where you are currently is the culmination of planning and choices that you've made up until this point. Now, I know that the human tendency is to want to place blame where? Elsewhere. It's the government. It's these fucking taxes. It's the state of the world right now. We want to constantly and perpetually be placing blame elsewhere. Why do we do that? It preserves our ego. Makes us feel righteous. It's a status game. Status games are dumb. Because what's the reward you get for winning a status game? Nothing. You know when people comment on my posts and it makes them feel better about themselves? It's a status game. I'm like, that's dumb. You know what I'm playing? Wealth fucking games. Do you understand? Really, really think about this one right here. The issue is not getting what you want, it's deciding what you want. You guys are capable. You know you have the same force inside of you that makes the sky, blue and the grass green. The same force inside of you makes the earth spin around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour. Google that shit. That same force is inside of you. Why do we limit it? Why? Why do we not think about what we actually want? Why do we settle for what we don't want? Because it would require me to change. It would require me to admit I'm not as cool as I am, as fast as I am, as smart as I am, as good as I am. People say to me like, oh yeah, I'm a master at scripts. I'm like, how many deals do you do? They're like 30. I'm like, you're not. Ha! Right? It's just not true. So the issue is not getting what you want, it's deciding what you want. Isn't that right, Esteban? Yeah, Esteban is a coaching client of mine. How much volume will you do this year? 12 million? Solid volume, right? Doing deals, making lots of money. He's young, handsome, makes a lot of money. You know what his challenge is? He's like, yeah, I am handsome. You know what his challenge is? Deciding what he wants. Because he could stay perpetually on the hamster wheel doing deals and getting plastic awards like he's the fucking shit. Right? But he has to decide, what do I actually want? 5 years from now, do I still want to be slanging shit? He told an interesting story where he worked as a valet, back in the day when he was 18 in Miami. It's all cash under the table. He's making what he perceived to be a lot of money at 18 years old. He was the man. You know what he did? He looked around and he saw 40 and 50-year-olds still doing it. He's like, oh no. I don't want to be fucking doing this when I'm 40 or 50 years old. And then he pivoted and he made a change. See, there he was thinking about what he wanted. You understand? But then you can start doing well, making money, and you stop thinking about what you actually want. Okay? So, intentionality in creating a vision and a strategy. Okay? This will ensure, with a high degree of probability, you'll end up in a specific destination. Because I don't want to leave it to dumb luck. Most people don't realize, there's actually 4 types of luck. The first type of luck is dumb luck. What would be an example of dumb luck? Win the lottery. By the way, my parents would buy lottery tickets. That was their plan. Anybody else besides me ever seen people do that?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's a tax on the poor. They keep half that money? That's my plan. Work hard and buy lottery tickets. Okay? There's 4 types of luck. One is dumb luck. The second form of luck is where you take massive levels of action and hustle and determination and discipline, and what happens is you become an expert at something. And then people seek you out for your expertise. See, I role-played twice a day, 6 days a week for 3 years. Hand wrote out scripts, prospected 6 days a week for 15 years. Now do you know what people ask me for?
Your script.
And advice, and they pay me for it. People say, you're lucky. Am I? Or did I create my own luck?
You created.
Do you see? The third form of luck is that chance favors the prepared mind. If I can see opportunities that other people can't, That's very helpful. Did you know that when Jeff Bezos started Amazon, do you know why he did that? He's a nerd. He was at MIT getting a PhD in mathematics. He saw one statistic. He saw that the internet at that time was growing at 800% a month. He saw an opportunity where other people didn't. Now he's the richest guy in the world. How can you prepare your mind to see opportunities? Study, read. Right? I made a decision this year. I'm going to spend 100 hours reading about blockchain, cryptocurrency, smart contracts, and cryptography. Why? It's the fucking future. And I don't understand it. I realized last year with what we were doing 17 months ago that media was very important, but I didn't understand it. It was just my wife posting pictures of our kids, which nobody's fucking looking at, by the way. Stop doing that. Or what you're eating. Nobody cares. Or who you're with. Nobody cares. You have to add value. So you know what I did? I spent $25,000 to get proximity to someone who he has 6 companies that make $1 million a month, and his primary acquisition channel is social media. I went from 2,000 followers on Instagram to 33,000 followers. I went from touching 8,000 accounts to 500,000 accounts. Chance favors the prepared mind. That's the third form of luck. The fourth form of luck is you turn yourself into the type of person that people want to transact with you because they know that you're smart, have a lot of energy, and you have a high level of integrity. Why does Warren Buffett get to bail out banks? Why do they go to him first? Why do big companies, like family-owned businesses that it's their baby, they built it from scratch and it makes like $300 million a year, why do they go to him first to sell it? Why? Who could tell me?
His reputation.
Yes. His reputation. He's smart. They know they're going to deal with him honestly and fairly. He'll pay a fair price. He's not going to try to break it up and sell it off into pieces. And they know he has a super high level of integrity. So what 65% of people do is they bet on the dumb luck one. I want to buy lottery tickets and work hard. If you want to create your own luck, though, massive levels of action, turn yourself into an expert. Study so you can see opportunities where other people can't, and make your reputation such that people want to transact with you. Why have I attracted 212 agents in 17 months? I'm sorry? Reputation. That I know what I'm doing and I have a high level of integrity. Make sense? People are like, oh, well, he's so lucky. His social popped off. He's so lucky. Am I? Or am I creating my own luck? Ask yourself a question. Are you creating your own luck? Or are you just fucking winging it? Okay? So let's look at the difference. A vision. This is the definition of a vision. And it's important that we understand words, because without understanding of words, we're like just groping in the dark. The ability to think about or plan the future with imagination or wisdom. In the Bible, it says, without a vision, the people will perish. You see how you guys know that right away? Isn't that interesting? You know why? Because you sat in pews and they said that to you over and over and over again, but you never actually applied it. Are you casting a vision for yourself and your family, or just trying to get by? Right? A plan. What is a plan? What are we going to do? A strategy is how we're going to do it. And why are we going to do it? Now, what I witness happens is you guys have been to countless meetings where they talk about goals, no? So what I find so interesting is, where do you think that fits here? Is it a vision, is it a plan, or is it a strategy? No. Because a goal without a plan is a dream. And what happens is you guys get a dopamine hit by declaring goals. So your brain gets confused like you already did it. You're like, yeah, I'm going to go to the gym. It's going to be fucking great. Okay. Imagining about the thing is not the thing. The thing is the thing. You understand? So the goals, they're like, yeah, let's talk about goal setting. Great. And then they'll put somebody on a panel who's done like mediocre levels of production and like, here's how I set my goals. And you're like, oh, that's fucking cool. And then you walk out and it doesn't really help you that much. Anybody? Yeah, 100%. Because they're really talking about a goal. It's not like a clear vision for where I want to go. A vision is things like, what type of lifestyle do I want to have? What type of experiences do I want to provide for my children? Where do I want them to go to school? What do I want to see in the world? Do you guys know we have 27,550 days on planet Earth? 75 years in the industrialized world. Women have a tendency to live more than men. I'm 42 years old. I've used half. Do not ever forget that you're in the process of expiring. The faster you can accomplish something, the longer you can enjoy it with the people that you love and care about. So why am I taking this laissez-faire fucking approach? Why am I like, yeah, bro, I'll get to it. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I went to this goal setting thing. It was really fucking great. Yeah. No vision. And then what I also find interesting, agents come to me like, oh, I'm going to do like 50 deals this year. I'm like, great, how? Oh, well, I have an attitude of gratitude, hashtag blessed, hashtag thriving. I'm like, really? It's fucking childish.
Good vibes only.
Yeah, good vibes only, bro. What's up? I'm like, that's childish. I need a strategy. And strategy can change. Has my strategy changed? You knew me. You've known me a long time. If I was to tell you that people would be calling me to ask me to coach them on social media, what would you say? She would laugh in their face. Because I used to shit on it. And be like, nah, dude, I'm a prospector. I don't do that. You see what I'm saying? So strategy can change, but do you know what happens? Money has an addictive quality, and because of it, you get addicted to the way that you receive it. I had a conversation with Natalie. Natalie's another elite builder, rock star, doing tons of business, partnered with us pretty much immediately because of reputation and because of relationship. And I pointed out to her recently because she crushes it on Instagram. Does really well and generates lots of business, a couple deals a month from it. I said, hey girl, you're myopic. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you got good at one thing, and because of that, you're ignoring TikTok, ignoring YouTube Shorts, you're ignoring all this other stuff. And what did you say to me? Yeah, well, we have this like brother-sister type relationship. She's like, fuck you. That's what she really says. But then she's like, I know you're right. And my intention isn't to be right. My intention instead is to point out to her because she's a rock star. She's what I call the TFP. You know what that stands for? Total fucking package. Smart, hardworking, right? Aesthetically pleasing, knows what she's doing. She should be murdering it on all platforms. No? 100%. But we get myopic because we have one strategy, it works, and then we're like, oh, this is my precious. Okay? Are we clear on the difference between a vision, a plan, and a strategy? So, what I find very interesting to that, to me, the Cheshire Cat represents life. And you're presented with a myriad of choices and options. And you notice what the Cheshire Cat said to her. She's like, well, I was wondering if you could tell me which way to go. And he said, where do you want to end up? She said, well, it doesn't really matter. And what did he say? Any path will do then. This makes sense to you? This is why vision is so important. Where am I going? What is the ultimate goal and destination? I decided when I was a younger, like 26 years old, I wanted financial freedom and independence because I didn't want my family to feel the pain of being poor. And anybody who tries to tell you or convince you that having money is evil doesn't fucking have any. In 1,000 universes, 999 of them, you want to be rich. Or at least have resources. Period. And by the way, people who hate on people who have resources, you know what that is? It's a status game. They're trying to make themselves feel better. And like more righteous. Meanwhile, they're envious. Remember, hate is always a mixture of love and jealousy. People hate on my comment, hate on my shit all the time. You know what they're really saying to me? Gosh, I wish I could sound like that. I wish I had the fucking courage to just be myself. But you let that stop you. Somebody who doesn't even know you. Okay, so now we're going to get into really starting to sift. Ask yourself some questions, and this is interactive. I want you guys to be like participating. I'm going to call on you as we do this. So that way we can get to a vision. So if you keep the same habits you have now, in 5 years from now, will your life be worse or better? Worse. Interesting. Now let's define habits. So for you personally, I noticed even you said worse right away. Before I even got it out. You're like, worse. So which habits in particular? Because there's multiple different habits. And what I'm aware of is habits Okay, success is a few disciplines practiced every day, okay? Failure is a few errors in judgment practiced every day. So when we say habits, I'm aware your mind maybe went to one in particular, so which habit did your mind go to?
Like my morning prospecting routine.
Okay, so the habit of not prospecting.
Correct.
Got it. And that particular habit, if played out over the next 5 years, will equal what?
I mean, my business won't grow.
Yeah.
It'll remain stagnant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not stagnant, but it will get stagnant, and inflation will happen, and so I'll be not in a good place.
Yes, so, and I appreciate, see, we're one of the only species that can forecast into the future. Your dog doesn't. It's like, oh, there's a blueberry there, I'm gonna eat it. Or, oh, there's another dog, I'm gonna sniff its butt. Like, that's what it does. There's no like forecasting, like, I don't know if she wants me to sniff her butt, I don't know. No, just boop. Right? So, you mentioned a few things fall apart, I see you. Your business won't fall apart. It'll be maintained by past client centers of influence. You'll continue to make the same amount of money. 5 years from now, your purchasing power will be less than it is today. Would we all agree that that's an accurate assessment of reality? Yes. Okay, now check this out. A dream plus dealing with reality plus determination equals a successful life. Which part of that equation is the hardest? Is it the dream? Everybody has one. If we went in this room, everybody has a dream, different people, different places, whatever. Is it determination? Everybody has various levels of determination. You know what the hardest part is?
Action.
Dealing with reality. It's the hardest part. But your ability to deal with reality is directly correlated with getting outcomes that you want. And by the way, as a species, we are not good at dealing with reality. We create alternative realities that make us feel better and look better in our own eyes. Okay? So now that you know that, what also becomes very clear is what?
What I need to do.
Yes. Now, what's also true though is that requires a plan.
And discipline.
Got it. So, and by the way, just so you know, what's the derivative of the word discipline?
Disciple.
She knew that. What does a disciple mean? Devoted. Are you devoted to your vision?
Yes. Sometimes.
Ah, you see, that was like, yes, but kind of, sort of. You see, I was devoted to freedom, devoted to it, because the alternative was not acceptable to me. And when you're devoted, I'm curious.
Getting there.
Okay, good. Now, when you're devoted, though, I'm curious. Is discipline an issue? No, because I am a disciple. I don't disciple. I'm not discipling. I am a disciple. I'm devoted to it. So, Marcy, you made a huge physical transformation in your life, right? You used to weigh 100 pounds more, correct? Yeah. And to the best of my knowledge, you did that through diet and exercise, correct? Yeah, no like Ozempic or fucking shortcuts or anything like that. Yeah, which by the way, it was funny because I was having a conversation with my daughter and there were people next to us were talking about like Ozempic. And they're like, oh yeah, I lost like 40 pounds. The other guy's like, oh yeah, I lost, and he was still heavy. I lost like all this weight. And then you know what they were eating? Waffles.
Of course.
With fucking syrup and all this shit. And you know what I said to my daughter? My daughter was right there. She's like, what are they talking about? I'm like, well, they're talking about a shortcut.
Yeah.
And she said, what do you mean? I'm like, well, it's this drug that actually tricks your body into thinking it's full. That's what it does. You know how poor our impulse control is as humans? You know what our solution was before? Staple our stomach smaller.
Yeah.
That's how poor our impulse control is. Now you know what it is? We're going to put something in our body that hormonally tricks my body into thinking that I'm full. So I said to her, what's happening is that what these people don't realize is as soon as they stop taking that, they're going to go right back. And do you know what they're actually robbing themselves of? The character that it fucking takes to do it in a way that's sustainable. Does that make sense? So I'm curious for you, that particular habit, which is tied to a whole bunch of other things, I'm imagining. You use food as a way to cope with stuff. But that particular habit, you sat down one day, you said, hey, if I keep doing this, this is where it's going.
100%.
Okay, and what caused you to be like, okay, that's it, not doing it anymore?
My kids, I have 2 kids, and I wanted to be a positive example for them, and I wanted to be around for them.
Yeah.
I wanted to teach them how to live a healthy life.
Yeah, and that was so powerful. Does anybody have to fucking call you to be like, hey, are you going to work out today?
No one.
No one. Because guys, I need you to understand something. External accountability breaks down. Always. Anybody have a gym partner who flaked out? Anybody who have a role play partner that flakes out? Yeah. Guys, external accountability breaks down. It has to come from inside of you. But her reason, see, many of you guys like are capable. You don't have strong enough reasons or enough of them. She named 2 that were very powerful. 1, I want to be around for my kids. 2, I want to be example for them. And I need you guys all to hear me on something. You will do way more for other people than you will yourself. But she looked at that habit. So I want you guys to do something. Just humor me. Write down right now 1 habit that if you followed it out in 5 years would not lead you to the specific destination that you want to go. And hey, would not. And we're all friends here. This only works if you're honest. Just 1. Maybe it's scrolling on Instagram for fucking 3 hours a day. Maybe it's watching too much Netflix. Maybe it's not reading enough books. Maybe it's not paying attention to what I put inside my mouth. Maybe it's drinking too much. Huh?
You don't drink. I was like, what?
All right, so who wants to be brave enough to raise their hand and tell me what they wrote down? What do you got?
Not taking enough action.
Okay, and what specifically?
Accomplishing short-term goals.
Okay, what I would propose is it's actually not action that's keeping you there. What's underneath not taking action? What are you trying to prevent?
Failure.
Yes. I'm trying to prevent looking bad in other people's eyes, so I don't do anything. Anybody besides me have ever experienced that before? Yeah, which is super interesting. Where did you get the idea that failing is bad?
They started giving grades in school.
Not moving forward, in life.
Right, but where did you get the idea that trying something and messing up is a reflection of who you are as a person?
Other people.
Other people? And is there anybody in particular that you're concerned about what they think? Anybody specifically that you're worried like if you mess up they're going to be like,
Myself.
yourself? Anybody else? Nobody else? No? Who are you trying to impress?
People around me.
Okay, who specifically?
My wife.
Ah, okay, good. Now, when he said that, you guys can't see him, but there emotion flashed in front of his face. Who else?
My parents.
Ah, interesting. See, you know what was first? And I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate your authenticity because the story of one is the story of all. Notice when I asked him who he's trying to impress, he's like, I don't know. But as I continued to ask, what came up? Very quickly. My wife and my parents. Interesting. Look, he's smiling now.
All that weight.
Do you see?
You said honesty.
It is, and it's the only way that this works, by the way, is if you're honest. Because the truth is we're all on the same path. And if we really are honest with each other, we're just fucking trying to figure it out. We're doing the best we can. We're just trying to figure this shit out. But this pattern is very common. You can't see them, but there's like fucking 25 people are going like this. Because we think it's just us, but the story of one is the story of all. Even though we have different genders, different cultures, different languages, different geographic backgrounds, the human experience is the same. And the fear that you have that is really powerful, that inhibits you, is being concerned about what other people think. It's not, and then what happens is we end up trying to I need to listen to David Goggins. That'll do it. That'll get me to really give it a go. I got to read Atomic Habits. That'll do it. That'll help me to get into action. Nah, bro, until you deal with what we're talking about right here, that'll constantly and perpetually be an issue. It's holding you back. It's like there's this race that you want to run, and there's 2 people standing next to you, and you're like, oh my God, what happens if I don't win? Are you still going to love me? Because isn't that really what you're worried about? If I don't perform, then I won't be accepted, and if I'm not accepted, I won't be loved. That's how powerful the desire for love is. It's so strong that it can keep me frozen in fear that if I don't perform, I won't be loved anymore. Isn't that wild? But here's what's really interesting when you really think about it. The truth is that will your wife love you no matter what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Your parents?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. That came very fast, right? So if that's what's really true, imagine if you moved with that. I walk through the shadow of death and I fear no evil because I know what? I know who walks with me. But do I behave that way? Yep, something to think about. Something to marinate on. Okay? We're not limited in capacity. So, again, what are we doing? Where are we going? Why are we going there? So habits compound over time, good and bad. This had a particular set of habits, did it not?
Yeah.
That's what I call skinny fat.
The worst kind.
Skinny fat. Okay? That was going on runs and calling it exercise. Anybody do that shit besides me? Yeah. Oh, I went for a jog today. No. Yeah. I bought my fucking $200 hookahs and I went for a jog. Not paying attention when I'm putting into my mouth. Not prioritizing health. That second picture has a set of habits, does it not? You know how long that took? 3 months. Huh? So what I'm aware of, though, that this required a radical change in thinking and prioritization of time. 100%. And this is just an example, right, of how you can change very fast, very quickly with the right plan and right strategy. By the way, do you know I also hired a coach? Because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Even though I've done triathlons, even though I've done half marathons, even though I played high school football, you know what the real truth was? I had no fucking idea what to do in the gym. And then you know what the real truth is? Most people don't. I had no idea. I had no idea about movement. I had no idea about like nutrition. I had no idea about any of that stuff. It took me like 90 days just to like figure it out. Okay? Ask yourself this next question. Who brings out the best in me and can I schedule more time with them? Who brings out the best in you? Write it down. Who is it? Yeah. It's like you. Who brings out the best in you? I love that, bro. And can I schedule more time with them? Because do you know what I see what people do? The moment that stuff starts to go not going right, they retreat and isolate themselves from everybody because they don't want to appear what? Weak. And by the way, does that work? No. So who brings out the best in me? And can I schedule more time with them? Write it down. Who brings out the best with you? It could be a colleague. It could be a coach. It could be a significant, like who is it? And can I schedule more time with them? Can I prioritize time with them? Guys, you're one relationship away from changing your family tree for the rest of your life. I've probably had 5 relationships. One of them, I spoke to him this morning. I've spoken to Neil Weichel every week for 17 years. He makes $5 million a year selling real estate. He's not flipping. He's not doing anything else. He's worth $30 million. Now, money's only one way to measure success because no amount of external success can make up for failure at home. 100%. But he's been successful there too. You know, married like, 28 years or something like that. And, but he's one relationship. And guess what? I prioritize time. I speak to him every week. So who wants to tell me who it is for them? Who brings out the best in you? Yep. Betty, what's up, team? That's awesome. And you guys are buds. So how could you schedule more time with her?
Chit-chatting while we door knock.
Okay. But you guys spend a lot of time together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's an example where you actually are spending a lot of time with her.
Yeah.
Good. And how can you get the most out of that time, though? Because I know you guys are friends, too.
Yeah, I think by doing things to prospect.
And
while we spend time.
what exactly does she bring out in you?
she just makes me like do it. Because I know I have the talent to do it, but she just like pushes.
So is it inspiration?
Yeah.
Is it motivation?
I think it's a little bit of everything.
Is it her leading by example? Like, what is it specifically that causes you to get into action when you're in her presence?
I don't know, I think it's like having that person, like that backup to, if I freeze with a question, she jumps in, and vice versa, we just feed off each other.
Got it. So it's just support,
Yeah,
and it makes you feel more comfortable.
yes.
Yeah, that's dope. Good.
We do
Good.
go on this trip like this together.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
And I'm more, yeah, she's like very, like, you know, she does the detailed work, like she researches, and I'm just more of the closer with just like my mind and the mentality, let's get it done. And that's how we work together.
And it works well.
Yeah,
That's
we
awesome.
had our first international Zoom, and we got 2 listings.
That's great. Good for you. Let's do it. 3. Yeah, that's awesome.
She did all the research, and I did all the talking.
So what's interesting is, like, as we're having this conversation and I'm asking you what exactly does she bring out in you, at first it's like, well, I don't know. She's kind of cool. But then as we start to dig, it's like, well, she actually makes me feel more comfortable. She actually, like, supports me. She's strong in areas that I'm not. And the clearer you can get on that, the more you can pull from that interaction. Does that make sense? Good. Who else?
Don't let that person down.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And there's a form of accountability there. Yes.
I mean, I want to focus on the human part of it, like not the professional part of it.
Yeah.
Like spend time with people in the professional
Sure.
that help me a lot. You being one of them, of
Yeah.
course. But I want to say my kids.
Yeah.
I'm an educator professionally.
In Cuba, you were an educator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I wanna kind of deliver that message of how we got here, why we got here. I think that's very important.
Super important.
And
And why do your kids bring out the best in you?
because they take that. I mean, I spend a lot of time with them, and they, you know, I try to teach them. I always try to teach them something, like from my past experiences, especially the reason why we're here today.
So what they bring out in you is, it sounds like a sense of leadership, like to guide them.
We could call it like that.
Yeah, yeah. And also to disseminate, like for them to be very clear on what the vision was,
Yeah.
what had to be done for it to make it happen. Because for those of you who don't know, this young man came from Cuba, and for 8 years he was without his kids. Wow. 8. That's a long time, bro.
Yep.
To be without, like, in my experiences, I don't know, how many people have children? It's like your fucking heart outside of your body. Truthfully. So to be without them for an extended period of time requires an immense amount of emotional strength and courage. But there was a reason. There was a vision, because you knew, and look, emotions coming up for you. So you knew that if you stayed there, what would their life have been like?
Total mess.
Total fucking mess. And the desire was so strong that I'm willing to put up with any fucking how in order to make it happen. Right?
Yeah, we're willing to pay the price.
That's what's up, brother. That's dope. Clap it up. Clap it up. So identify your A-list and put them in your calendar. The other thing that comes up for me, guys, is just because I'm up here, if you've noticed, there's some fucking amazing humans amongst you. I'm just the one that has the microphone. Do you understand? Like, we've all done some, like, pretty awesome shit. We just don't realize it because we live in an Instagram world and you're comparing yourself to like 0.0001% of the population. Okay? Are my actions aligned with the life that I want, or just what others expect of me? Are my actions aligned with what I actually want, or just what other people expect of me? The pressures of family, friends, society around us can suffocate our individuality and cause us to lose sight of what we truly want in life. It's very true. Okay? So what would be an example of just what others expect of me? What would be an example of that? Yep. Sonia, rockstar elite builder in the house. Let's go.
Thank you. So one of the things that I struggle with is when I'm busy in business, I'm focused on, my email, connecting with everyone, and then I forget to do what people expect of me, which is show that I'm a performer on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so maybe like in 1 week, I post like a whole bunch of closings that I had probably 6 months before, because I fall, in between what the world expects, which is
And what you actually want.
yes.
Yes. So for those who don't know, she has 11,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I don't know if you know this, but only 10 million channels out of 150 million ever get past 1,000 subscribers. Wow. That's the fucking truth. Somebody was talking shit. They're like, oh, this guy talking about social media, he only has 33,000 followers. I'm like, dude, I looked it up. There's 1.6 billion Instagram accounts. There's only 116,000 that have more than 20,000 followers. Wow. We just think it's everybody. It's not.
And they're natural.
Yeah.
They're not bought or managed by a company.
Yeah, same. So what I'm aware of too, though, is that, okay, so people have this expectation of you that they want you to do all this other stuff. And it's not in alignment with what you actually want. And what you actually want, it sounds like, is to create more content and to work with more buyers and sellers. That's what you actually want. So what gets in the way of her doing that?
Daily routine.
Reality.
Well, here's what I would propose is, one, what did you say?
She doesn't have a plan.
Doesn't have a plan. What else?
Assistant.
What gets in the way of getting an assistant?
Mindset.
Money. Because 65% of us came from families with paycheck to paycheck, so you heard things like, if it's gonna get done, it has to be done by me. Which is fucking stupid. How many real businesses have no employees? Zero. That's why you guys go to flat fee companies. I'm trying to keep everywhere to dollar. That's why you do your own transaction coordinator. I want to keep every little dollar. But do you see? It gets in the way. So there's a loop. There's pain. What you're expressing to me is pain. Then I have to do an audit of my time. What am I spending time doing that's sucking energy away from me? Then I have to transfer those activities to someone else. Then I have to fill this newfound time with the shit I like and enjoy, and that I'm really good at. And you know what will happen? You'll magically make more money. Ha ha. Do you see? Watch this evolution. So people work with buyers and sellers, right? But then they experience pain because they're like, fuck, I can't grow because the buyers take up so much time. So then what they do is they have to do an audit. What am I doing that's taking time away? Working with the buyers. So now I need to transfer that to other people and fill it with more activities towards listings. Prospect, lead, follow-up, go to appointments, negotiate deals. Fine. That'll get you like 50 deals. If you're still fucking around with the admin, you know what happens? You experience pain. Because your phone's ringing all the time, you got no time, it's 7 days a week, all that, right? So then you have to do an audit. What's sucking energy away from me? Income servicing activities. So what do I have to do? Transfer that to a listing coordinator, transaction coordinator, and I can fill that time with more prospect, lead, follow-up, go to appointments. You'll do 100 deals. Do you see? But at each one, my comfort keeps me from my calling. If I was on a branch and I'm going from one to the next, what do I have to do in order to get to the next one? Let go. You understand? But you're like, no, I'm going to stay right here. But then you know what starts to happen? You're like, your fucking arms start to shake, and you're like, oh my God, this is fucking crazy. And then it'll just drop it all, and you'll go on vacation and think that's the remedy. The laughter is because you know that shit is true. You're like, oh, I'm just fucking, I need time, and I need to recharge. It's fucking horse shit. You're refusing to let go of something. That's what's causing the pain. Okay? Next question. Which areas of my life would benefit the most from setting stronger boundaries? Ooh, deep breaths. Which areas of my life would benefit the most from setting stronger boundaries? One of the healthiest things you can do is to set strong boundaries. If you don't know where to start, look at the areas of your life that feel most out of control.
18 months of therapy to figure that shit out.
Right?
18 months.
And you're getting it here. Right? She said 18 months of therapy to figure that shit out. So look, if you don't know where to start, look at the areas that are the most out of control in your life. So write down, what area in your life is the most out of control right now? Out of control. Is it fitness? Is it fucking admin? Is it your money? What area is the most out of control? Is it personal relationships? Like, what is it? She's like, all of the above. Who wants to be brave enough to tell me?
Spiritual.
Okay, dope.
I think it starts from there.
Okay, yeah, I'm in agreement with that. So, and what boundaries do you need to set?
Be truthful to what I know is true
Okay,
and not play around with it.
what do you, okay, so everything you say yes to is something else you have to say no to. So what are you saying yes to right now, which is causing you to say no to that?
So I'm saying yes to believing in Christ. That's what I believe in.
Yeah,
And I'm saying no to everything I used to do in the past, alcoholism, and many other
things?
things.
Yeah, you're not the only one in the room, promise.
Right.
And here's my question though. So if that is important to you right now,
Right.
what boundaries do you have to set to keep that important? What do you have to say no to?
Right. Surrounding yourself with the right kind of
Okay, so you're gonna have to say no to certain people, no?
Right. Accountability, hanging around with the right kind of people.
Got it, so then you have to be in communion
Right.
and, being around other people that are acting and behaving accordingly. What else?
And
Yeah, he's thinking, baby.
The environments and places that we put ourselves.
Environments, that's right. I remember I was in Las Vegas one time. They tell you that bullshit like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It doesn't. It's fucking marketing to get you to spend all your money and act like an idiot. And to follow impulses.
It's effective marketing.
Yeah, it's effective. But you guys are smarter than that. Okay? And I remember I was in Vegas and this guy, I was at a learning event. And this guy was like, yeah, we're going to go up to this chick's room and just have a drink. I'm like, nope. And he was like, why not? I'm like, that's not why you're going up to the fucking room, bro. I said, I'm a grown-ass man. You put a ham sandwich in front of me, I'm going to want to eat it. The flesh is weak. I do not put myself in environments where that's the case. Do you understand? So everything I say yes to is something else I have to say no to. If I'm saying yes to entertainment, I'm saying no to reading. If I say yes to what tastes good, I'm saying no to fitness. Right? Guys, do I have more time than you? No, definitely not. It's a great equalizer. We all have the same amount of time. But what am I saying yes to? I'm saying yes to freedom. I'm saying yes to personal growth and development. I'm saying yes to fitness, which means I say no to pool parties where people are imbibing and talking shit. I say no to Christmas parties where people are getting hammered. I'm good. Isn't it weird that collectively, parents think it's okay to get hammered in front of their kids at a birthday party? It's fucking crazy.
And then we tell them, don't smoke.
And we call that fun. And then when they get old, you don't do it. But I do it. I remember being at, my son played travel baseball. The coach and all of the people are fucking doing shots. I looked at my wife, I'm like, we're no longer going to be on this team anymore. Everything I say yes to is something else I say no to. And you guys need to reframe no. So when you say yes to people, do you give an explanation?
No.
When you say no, do you feel compelled to give an explanation?
Yes.
Why?
Because you don't like to say no and disappoint.
I'm so afraid you're going to be mad at me. You have to reframe no. You know what no is? Me saying yes to all that other shit. So me saying no thank you to a bachelor party. That's me saying yes to my wife. Me saying no to eating fucking Skittles is me saying yes to health and fitness. You just have to reframe it so then I no longer feel bad when I say no. Because I'm saying yes to the shit that I actually want. Not what other people expect of me. And then you know what's interesting? When you start to say no, people you thought were your friends, like, come on, bro, really? What, you think you're better than me? Oh, like you're Mr. fucking, oh, you found Jesus?
Right.
Right? Why do I give two fucks what they think? Why? To use him as an example, was Jesus like, oh no, I can't say this in front of people, they might get upset. Nope! The opposite! Right? So you have to decide, guys. So that way you can create the life that you want. Because it's available to everybody. And the reason I'm so passionate about this shit is I know what the opposite feels like. I've experienced it and I don't want anybody else to experience it. Okay? Check this out. What am I willing to sacrifice to reach my goals? You could do everything, but you can do anything, but you can't do everything. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. Rather than thinking about adding more goals, consider what you must sacrifice to reach the ones that you already have. What am I going to have to sacrifice if you're going to make a commitment to, let's say, spirituality? What do you have to sacrifice?
A lot.
Okay. Such as? Give me examples.
You know, just watching out every single move that I make from the moment I walk out the door, how I'm talking, who am I surrounding myself with, how am I prioritizing?
Yeah, and you have to sacrifice time because you're going to study.
Right.
And you're going to go and be in communion, and you have to sacrifice things. Right. Why is it that we live in a world now where people think they're entitled to everything and don't have to sacrifice for anything? Right. It's fucking crazy. Why? I remember my sister, and I love her. She's an awesome human. She went to school here locally at FAU, and she got out. She's like, you know, they're only offering me jobs at $40,000. It's like pennies. I was like, bro, what fucking skill do you currently have that somebody would pay you more than that? The answer's nothing. Okay? Because if somebody pays you 100, how much value do they want? 200. But we just think, oh, it's because it's me, silly. Didn't you know?
I deserve it.
I'm fucking special. Hey, newsflash, and I love you all, you're not that special. Okay? Nobody is. So, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. Rather than thinking about your goals, adding more goals, consider what you have to sacrifice for the ones that you have. So write down one goal that you have right now, and then write down what would you have to sacrifice in order to really make that happen. Not like think about it, wish about it, pray about it, but like actually do it. One goal. And what would you have to sacrifice, give up? Good. Who wants to be brave enough to tell me what it is? The goal and what you have to sacrifice. Yes, sir. Jesus.
Study a little more.
Okay, but what's the goal? To study a little more. Okay, and what would you have to sacrifice?
Less screen time.
Less free time. Interesting. And how much of a sacrifice is that for you at this moment in your life?
It seems like hard.
It seems like very hard, right? Well, let me share something with you that perhaps could help with that. You know, I remember my daughter recently, she was like overwhelmed because there was something she had to do and she felt it was like a huge undertaking. Anybody besides her ever have that experience? And then you get paralyzed and you do nothing. So I said to her, you know, the way you eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So I don't know if you know this, but if you read for 30 minutes a day, 7 days a week, you will read 2 to 3 books a month. 30 minutes a day out of your whole day. Does that seem...
It seems impossible right now.
Does it seem manageable or that seems impossible?
It seems impossible right
Okay, so then what else are you currently doing with what's filling up your time?
now. Social media.
Okay, and I appreciate your honesty. And do you learn from that?
Nothing.
Nothing. So what happens is it's a replacement.
Of course I'm avoiding.
Yeah. But the avoiding by not, let's say, educating yourself, if you follow that for 5 years, where would that lead you?
Nowhere.
To the same place.
Worse.
Yeah, perhaps. Right? Because the world is changing so rapidly and quickly, super fast.
The economy is changing if I keep going like that.
Right, like very rapid and very quickly. So, and I appreciate your honesty, Jesus, because what happens is we can feel scared, so then we just retreat. And then we distract. I distract myself with media. I distract myself with, I'm not saying you're doing this, but distract yourself with substances, distract myself with food. I distract myself with something else because I'm not willing to what? Deal with it.
This next panelist is going to teach us how to keep our money. Who here wants to do that? He personally helps Aaron keep his money. He has his own boutique wealth business. He has helped over 500 families, and he has flown